Oh yes, I'm back again. I'm back with a sword in hand from TMX 2026. Greetings, chromatic warriors! Bleeding off of the Lake Winnebago there runs a river, and if one's feet should follow that very path, it would take you straight to TMX 2026. I drove there, but the river path is still an option. It's a small convention hosted by our favorite guy, Uncle Adam, and it has grown over time. I got up to all kinds of the varied activities, multifaceted fun that the hobby offers. I even interviewed a guy. Let me tell you all about it. When, you may ask? This year it was June 13th and 14th. It always falls around that time, and if you think about it, this is a way of celebrating a happy half new year. It is nearly at the exact center of the calendar year, and it is always cool to have a little self-check-in and ask where I'm going. Have I wasted the last 6 months? Thank God I'm at TMX. Where was it, you may ask? I forgot. The Oshkosh Marriott Waterfront Hotel and Convention Center. That's where it is. It's a lovely corner location, and it is right downtown in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Is very walkable. 2 blocks will get you to a restaurant. 1 block will get you to a banh mi sandwich. And you find that by walking just past the cafe. So it is very accessible food-wise, and the weather was quite fair over there. Why it is, well, you should probably already know that, because wargaming is the best, and this multifaceted hobby involves the best community on the planet. It's to get everyone together, enjoy the enjoyable, good, clean fun of playing games together, socializing, discussing, our specific nerdy interests, and just walking away with a full tank of inspiration, as usual, as these conventions always provide. I'm always up to something at a convention. I wouldn't recommend just going in blind and expecting to be led around. You should have some goals, but personally I've worked my way around behind the curtain, and I get to teach classes at a lot of these conventions, and thanks to Uncle Adam, this one was also no exception. You have myself, you have Vince Venturella, and you have Raven of Gravenly Studio, all running classes, one after the other. I taught a class on painting backdrops. It's called Bob Ross Backdrops. We painted a mountain range. A big thank you to the students for having the courage on that one, having the courage to jump into any class and try something new. Very cool. But this particular class, I'm teaching people something that is beyond miniature painting. This is just straight up illustrative technique, and the beautiful thing is it can be wound into miniature painting, of course, but the other beautiful thing is I feel like I could teach this anywhere. I could show anyone how to paint mountains, and we may not have to talk about Space Marines necessarily. We definitely would have to talk about Bob Ross. Definitely. The other class that I was teaching was titled "A Fine Edges and Smooth Blends." It is exactly what you think it is. It's me teaching these very essential, fundamental brush techniques. Start off with a slideshow to begin, and just kudos to everybody for taking that class. I saw a lot of success in there. It's a beautiful thing to hand the flame to someone and watch them carry the torch into their own cave and illuminate the walls, seeing their world brand new for the first time. That is what education can bring us inside the convention center next to the river. My other quest, as mentioned in a previous video, was to get some games of Trench Crusade in. I have a painted warband again, after all. And I did get some Trench Crusade in, but we'll talk about that in a moment because it is a little bit longer. I just wanted to share some of the other games that I saw on display. You had one-page rules there with their Grimdark Future Firefight, and various titles. They make a lot of different things. You had classic Necromunda being played. That was in its cardboard finery as well. There was a display of both of the starter war bands, fully painted, all constructed and well preserved, and then there were games going on nice three-dimensional painted scenery. But TMX is very cool for that, seeing the indie and the kind of throwback. It's nostalgia and it's indie games, and like half of this is about nostalgia and that pile of shame, as some may call it. I was so glad that someone had preserved that copy of Necromunda. Anyways, I also saw Moonstone being played. There was a BattleTech like gladiator arena that had an octagon set up, and man, people were at that table all weekend. I'm on the outside of that group, but it looked really cool. There was some custom shirts saying, drop site TMX 2026, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, all that. One dude showed up in like a boiler suit. He's dressed as a BattleTech pilot. It's fucking cool to see people having good fun, doing gaming right. Like when you hear a whole like table full of people cheer together, things are going well. So yeah, that was super cool to see. What else? There was also a Western game, and was it called Tarnation? God, I can't remember, and I apologize. But I was talking with the people from they also owned the Pickle Fetish Co. This is a pickle store in the South. Very nice speaking with them, and they were there with their brand new game. God damn, it's such a fucking fool. There's a lot packed into a single day, and you don't always remember the words of everything, but the picture is there in my mind. Also at every TMX, Uncle Adam and Vince Venturella release their brand new game, and Vince will be there demoing just how it's done, and the brand new game, Repent, Ye Foolish Gods. Personally, I think this is their best work yet. It's been so fun to be... I've got to play test every single one of these games at VinciCon, and the term design language comes to mind. For example, I've played a lot of Games Workshop games, so I could easily plug into just about anything that they make and understand their system, how they their design language, their D6 system, etc. So it's been really cool seeing the way that Vince constructs games and his own language of design evolving. In this game, you are a band of heroes. There are a lot of details as far as choosing an allegiance and having that allegiance manipulate the characteristics of your heroes. You have this in a lot of games. I'm the fire guy, I'm the speed guy, things like that. You have a lot of options for theming your band of heroes, and you're out there trying to bring down the wicked and cruel gods themselves. You start off, by kind of fighting some of the lower level cultists and choosing missions. The AI system, the charts you roll on to dictate the behaviors of the enemies, is like very well done. It felt a lot like the combination of a war game with an RPG, that kind of guided narrative element. It's easy to look at these situations and laugh at them from the outside, but there's a lot of charts and stats guiding you along. So very cool. Check this one out if you can. This is my favorite that they have made so far. Speaking on that, bringing the RPG element into wargaming, and I did get to play some Trench Crusade. There was a guy there, John, who was running what he called Overlord. This is his own customized version of Trench Crusade. He's turned it into a dungeon crawl, and I was able to use my own models. You draw up a 300 ducat list with 2 glory points. I threw mine together very, very quickly. I only had about 2.5 hours to play, and we were learning and playing with a group. It was a blast. You're moving across. You know what? Actually, why don't I just talk to the guy himself?
Good morning to you.
Good morning. Cheers.
Yeah.
Live from TMX 2026 on Sunday morning, I'm sitting down here with John Schaefer, and he has created something quite amazing within the world of Trench Crusade. I have all of my suppositions and experiences to lay on top of this, but I would rather ask the guy himself about it. So,
Sure.
What do we got here? How did it come to be?
This came about largely because I had a reluctant friend group that was thinking about Trench Crusade, but they are kind of apprehensive to play a competitive game. Like they're accustomed, they're mostly like D&D players. They play together as a group. They're used to like collaboration and solving problems and like learning the rules of a game in another way. I also just really like running events at conventions and other things like that. It's kind of like where my hobby's taken me at this point. So I like kind of like setting up scenarios and writing custom rules and anything that can tell a really good story. So Trench Crusade is an awesome system in which has like a lot of obviously great like narrative setting. There's like a lot of like cool campaign stuff. It's like right up my alley as far as like a game where you've got like campaign rules, you've got like developing narratives, you have like really cool units and things that you can bring to the table. And it uses like an alternate activation system.
Yeah.
So everybody can kind of get in the mix. You're not waiting a long time for somebody to take their turn and do that sort of thing.
It's such an approachable rule set to drop on somebody too. It's 14 pages gets you to the end of the rules, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe you know them by 7, and then by 14 all the keywords and everything come into play. But point being that it's very short and approachable, and you've turned a head-to-head game into a dungeon crawling cooperative experience.
Right.
How we started, I was like, oh, I can tell you've been GMing and just pulling so many different things I could lay on top of this to describe it. Like Kill Team comes to mind, Hero Quest comes to mind.
I'm definitely influenced a lot by all those games, right? Like
for sure, that I can tell it's all touched you in that way, and like
it kind of cherry picked a lot of the things that I like from each one of them. So I love the concept of like hidden information and hidden setup and things being revealed over the course of the game. That was kind of like the fundamental tenet of this whole thing is like I want to have a mission that everybody has and like specific objectives that each player has. But I wanted just there to be things that are revealed over the course of the game, like funny surprises or like interesting things or just developments that all of a sudden upset your tactical plans in a game, right? So it's very asymmetrical as far as like the win conditions. You've got one player who plays the Overlord. He essentially like
I was going to say you need a GM for this basically,
or
I think Overlord, and putting it in its own terms.
Right. So who's like an arbitrator. He essentially runs the pace of the games, and that would be the person that's already got a couple armies, a couple warbands for Trench Crusade. He's already got a table set up, and then these rules essentially just enable that player to set up all of his forces in secret, and then you kind of reveal sections of the board as you go, kind of like in a dungeon crawl. Like you open the door and there's goblins, or whatever. It's
good.
It's the same kind of general concept, but it just takes existing terrain and divides the table up into sections and just obscures things through kind of like a fog of war mechanic and like an exploration action to move through and reveal stuff as you go through play.
It's broken into tiles, and you perform discovery rolls, and depending on if that result is in your favor or out of your favor, either the Overlord or the players will place the denizens and objectives in there, and you're talking about having things to do. I need a job.
Right.
You have... So wait, there were loot crates, there were communication devices for if you're broken down to the last man, you can call in reinforcements. There was, in this scenario, teleportation areas that bring you to a random area in the map, and every warband, every force you pick has their own objective. You're working together, but I was trying to disassemble these blood crystals, basically. I'm in there for arcane reasons. My friends were in there for demolition reasons, and I can't remember the other guys. He was looking for loot counters. Al is. Raven
it's-
and
right.
new friend Al we were playing the other day.
And a lot of people had never really played the game before, so it's like it's a good testament to like the simplicity of the rule set. Like you're kind of just rolling dice, trying to get sevens on most anything you want to do. Kind of do all sorts of different actions as you go through, and everybody got a chance to kind of learn the rules together in a cool way.
Dude, I love the way that like you were overlording it, because we get to a certain point, stop for a little narrative drop.
Yeah.
It's very well written, good words, by the way. Like
thanks.
this area with the rotted chapel and the figure, impaled on an upside down cross, and the pews remain arranged as normal, but have been used for blasphemous reasons.
Oh,
and
yeah.
even the
it's very,
dude,
very,
it was so well written in just a brief little paragraph.
Thank you. Sometimes they're a little long. I think I need an editor at times.
Man,
I can see people's eyes just like rolling
No,
as I go,
not
as
me.
I go into paragraph 6. Hold on a second.
There's a certain point though where they, like, why I love this so much is because it's the merging of tabletop and RPGs. And sometimes when I'm playing RPGs, like D&D is a fun get together, but sometimes people have the idea, let's play forever.
Yeah.
This has an end to it, but it still had that experience, and it's cooperative, and it's
kind of compartmentalized, right? Like and that's kind of how I tried to design the general rules for it, is that you have just kind of like a big menu of different tropes. So you have like a scenario you want to do, and then the players will choose one of these different strike teams essentially, and each strike team has their own like kind of sub-objective, their own way to score their own victory points. The Overlord just gets victory points and accumulates them by keeping people out of his stronghold, by preventing them from like going into certain locations. So I think that there's like there's a lot of like individual flavor that you can add to each thing. So I have like lair rules, for example, right? So you mentioned that desecrated church. I just wrote up, I have like 10 different options. You've got like spawning vats if you want to just have like recurring kind of like chaff enemies like coming at people all the time, something like akin to a zombie or undead or something, or just a bunch of wretched.
Yeah.
You've got like a demonic portal where I can bring in demonic reinforcements, and anybody that gets attacked in that section gets hit with the fire keyword too. The chapel like doubles the number of blood markers you put on a guy. It's all there's just a bunch of different like thematic things, and hopefully that would inspire other players to be like, oh, I have this great idea for this cool terrain set that I have. I want to I want to kind of tell a cool story with it.
Yeah.
And I just tried to provide a bunch of, I guess, a system to hopefully maintain some balance. But just like in a D&D session, there's always going to be a bit of asymmetry to the whole thing, and there's going to be some complexity, and you have to pivot and adjust. And I think if you approach this game where you've got kind of a DM, I'm not really incentivized to win. I'm incentivized to provide a good time for everybody.
Yeah.
You can pump the brakes when you need to. You can put the pressure on, to keep the game tense if you need to. And it's I think approaching it that way, as opposed to trying to play like an ultimately tactical, very optimized game, is the way that I want to play games anymore. I think that's just how I want to do it.
The phrase "not everything is for everyone" comes to mind. This might not be your flavor, but I had a blast doing it. And also lately, like, as I've played so many different games and painted, like, mainly I enjoy painting. People know that, but collection-based gaming is what I want to throw out here. Like, you have all the factions painted up and all this scenery, and it might not all be Trench Crusade, but they're just playing pieces.
Yeah.
So the idea of putting that into action is really cool. And then finally, the idea, like, what is your actual gaming life looking like? Do you have like a hobby shop? Are you a tournament player? The average person just kind of hobbies out by themselves.
Right.
They play games about as often as there are major holidays every year. So I feel, and that's okay, but I need to be the nucleus of the operation.
Yeah.
Like, I got the game Warcry, painted both sides, all the scenery, factions, got the table, everything, and I could bring it to people, and we had a good time.
Yeah, just break down all the barriers to entry and just be like, here's a good time. Do you want to participate? Okay, cool.
This hits that same chord, where you can use your collection, you can be the nucleus of the operation. There's just such a garden to pull from, where you can decide how much of an overlord you want to be with this, and it's just a beautiful set of rules, man. So
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's awesome. It's been like a passion project for a while, so it's rewarding to just get it on the table and see people have a good time.
I was talking with Vince last night, and I was like, we have our Golden Demon projects. These are our big efforts. We're talking about this game. I'm like, that is John's Golden Demon project.
100%.
This level of
Yeah, my
Beautiful work,
my
man.
cycle pretty much is always like preparation for Adepticon. So it's like it's either prepping like big Necromunda events there, or this Trench Crusade thing, which I ran Overlord this last time, and then next year's my plan is to run this game on like 4 to 8 tables. You'd probably sign up as a team of 3.
Do it.
It sounds like it'd be pretty fun. So hopefully we can get everything all aligned and roll it out for some more people next year.
Yeah. Job well done. Fantastic work. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Cheers.
Always glad to do it.
Is there anything you'd like to say? Like,
Yeah.
do you want to like?
Yeah, so I'm compiling all these rules right now. I'm collecting them all. It's my intention to put them all up for public playtests. Let people just experiment with the system. I'll probably like set up some sort of formal way to collect feedback, maybe like a Discord channel. TBD. I'll get it all figured out. But at some point, I will post all this stuff for people to try out.
Hell yeah.
Refine it, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Excellent. Almost forgot that little bit. If you want to plug things or tell people where they can find more. So there's the information. Thanks again for your time.
No worries.
Another cheers.
Another cheers. All right. Have a good one.
Yeah.
A big thanks to John for taking the time to chat about his passion project with me. Just very fun. You can see the enthusiasm and the care just kind of oozing out of it. The rule book is freaking beautiful. So just good work all around. I look forward to playing that again. And I got to scratch that Trench Crusade itch. Luckily, get a little more experience. There were troop types on that table I've never faced before. My experience level for Trench Crusade, I could teach it to somebody. I've played, I'd say, around a dozen games, but against a very limited set of opponents. I haven't experienced the variety of factions and just that second level of depth and knowledge, and you start to see the matrix a little bit. So it's cool to get another taste and just go a little bit further into my knowledge on this game. I bought some things, very little. Most of these things were given to me. Shouts out to a student in the fine lines and fine edges and smooth blending class for the Savini Effect CD. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's a horror-themed instrumental band. I got a copy of Repent Ye Foolish Gods, a nice Tabletop Minions dice rolling tray, some stickers. This is one of my favorite items. Shout out to Stephanie, also known as Falling Freely. She does a lot of different art forms. She had stickers and watercolors and miniatures for sale. I'll have a link below. Check her out. She also has done artwork for the great Goblin Argle Bargle. It's one of the smaller games that Uncle Adam and Vince released in Snarl. This is their yearly zine that they also do to complement the games that they make. And there's always a little mini game in there. But yeah, beautiful sword box. I am not exactly sure what I'm going to do with this. I kind of want to hang it on the wall. I don't know. These items, sometimes they're good as gifts as well. I had to have it. Speaking of gifts, I think TMX is all about the giving. I was also given a pack of some classic gaming magazines. White Dwarf. Have you heard of this? When it started out, it was not entirely Games Workshop. There would be Dungeons and Dragons scenarios in here, promotions for metal bands like Bolt Thrower, Sabat, what was that? D-Rock. Thank you, Dave Taylor, for shining a light on that one. So yeah, I got a couple Classico copies of White Dwarf. Thank you so much. And some copies of Dungeon Magazine. These are just good sources of inspiration. It's always nice to take in other artists' work. It's just, even if situationally, if it gets you thinking about an illustration or wanting to paint, yeah. Beautiful stuff. I can't wait to store these on the coffee table and crack them out. Hell yeah. Special PSA, always be prepping and always hit the like and subscribe button. I thank you very much. I think I was the only freak here with actual present day Warhammer stuff. I brought my copy of Armageddon in to always be prepping. I had some downtime. I was just chatting it up with people. Just get a little more prep work in. I don't know. I can't help myself. And you want to bring the options, right? Ideally, a man is carrying a fanny pack everywhere he goes, and there are always Warhammer bits in there. And you have your razor blade and your little file and your glue. And if you happen to be waiting in line to get on like a roller coaster or something, you can be shaving lines on Space Marine legs. You can be shaving Space Marine legs. ABP. I hope this all gives you a better idea of what TMX is and what it is becoming. It becomes a reunion the more you attend these conventions, so it's always good to see old friends, make new friends as well as meeting some new local people. What was his name? Declan, big fan of dwarves, cool dude. So TMX is a place to go socialize, make some nerdy friends, play demos, take some painting classes, and it keeps growing. This year, I think, was the most highly attended TMX, and Uncle Adam was maybe I'm untucking his shirt a little bit. He was talking about possibly expanding into the side room and making things around twice the size they were. So there's more tables for more fun. Personally, I want to create a miniature painting gallery. I'd like the museum experience. I think TMX is different, and it's all about the subtleties. But a lot of a lot of conventions have paint competitions going on at them, and when I distill that down, like what is coolest about the paint contest to me is the gallery effect. I like to go to art museums and just look at a painting and feel all the passion and feeling and tedium that went into that piece. So I think having an area to bring our wares and display them together, for starters, that's a good foundation. That is your TMX painting contest. And I think, if I'm allowed, maybe I think I should rent a table and just do this myself. The longer time you spend in that gallery, maybe you generate raffle tickets or something, and placing just a People's Choice Award on top of that with no reward, but maybe a hat, maybe a fancy hat, It's about the gestalt of everything. It's about seeing all that passion and all that creative work together. It's not necessarily about giving someone a pat on the back with a trophy. There are other conventions for that. TMX is just a little bit different. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you attend the next TMX. Oshkosh is a cool place, and there are cool people at the convention. All right, I'll see you there, and until we meet again, my friend, on down that chromatic trail, remain unchained.